Alright, this is how to play a bad hand. I notice a lot of players have a habit of whenever their hand's not good, they either scoop, I see that a lot, or they just make a bad play, or sometimes they just do nothing, and by doing nothing, they end up losing anyway, because they did nothing. If they did something, they would have had a better chance of winning. So nobody wants a bad hand. Obviously, you want consistent. You want the good hand, the God hand, right? But that doesn't always happen. It can happen more often than not, of course, but it doesn't always happen. There are that rare occasion where you can draw a bad hand. Let's see. Ironically, right off the bat, we got a bad hand. Actually, not in my opinion. This is a really good hand, but in other people's views, they could see this as a bad hand because there's no monsters in this hand per se. But I always consider this a monster right off the bat. And then combo with back to the front. Proxy, this is called a haunted. Even if it was, if I was actually using call haunted, it's still the same. A way to bring something back so I can instant fusion into anything and I can bring it back. So that automatically has something. Or, this is a good hand, of course. Because I instant fusion something, link with it, especially if it's like, use this to bring out Thousand Eyes Restrict or any one-star fusion and then make link Kribo, right? Or, yeah, any link Kribo and then Monster Born, the one-star fusion, and then go into a link play anyway. So this is a pretty good hand, respectively, because it's still playable. It's not my ultimate strategy, but it's still playable. Let's just show what this could potentially do. I can instant fusion. I can go into. I don't have them in here. Normally I have them in the other decks, but I can see what I will want is I will want instant fusion and bring out in any other deck where I use instant fusion, I will want to bring out Rajan or Jama Knight or something. Do that. Bring out Jama Knight, and then let's say I brought out. Let's pretend this is Rajan for now, right? So I use instant fusion, bring out Rajan, which means he will die. Throw that in the grave. He'll die in the end phase. So I set 3. I hold on the Monster Reborn for later on. Then, of course, by instant fusion's ability, this will go graveyard. My opponent draws, standby phase back to the front. Or we could say this is called a haunted, bring him back, in attack mode. But if he's raging, it's not that big of a deal because even if I brought him back in defense mode, now he'll be in the main monster zone, so my extra monster zone will be open available. So now he's my main monster zone. And then I can use this effect to interrupt my opponent's play, especially if my opponent summons a monster to try to run over my Raging. I can just book moon it, right? Put it face down. Now you can't attack me. So that's important. But then, of course, I got the 2 Space Typhoon, depending on what deck I'm going up against. They got a field so I can pop it. They set some back row, I can pop it. So I have a play. So I have a way to play and interact. And let's draw my next card. I have recall, proxy, right? Recall, and I have effect negation, and I still have this to interrupt. So recall and Rajan, to interrupt. But that's if I had the Rajan, which I don't. Definitely need to add it into this extra deck. That's one of my favorite plays. Moving on. You want to play your hand regardless if you don't have the perfect hands, especially if you have a 2-card combo, 3-card combo. If you have a lot of combos in your deck that are more than that, they require just like 2 cards at most, then you don't have to worry about by using up some of the cards in your hands. You know, if I had a this instant proxy, instant fusion, and magical mallet for consistency, like right here, just these two cards alone, that's a needle fiber right there, a tuner, and then use instant fusion for non-tuner. Let's say this wasn't a tuner. Well, instant fusion can get me Theseus, which is a tuner fusion, and still make crystal needle fiber, which will still help me move forward. Magical mallet, you know, I can make my hands more consistent. So let's play the magical mallet. Now this is not a bad hand, even though I'm still playing it. This is a relatively good hand, but let's say I'll put these three back and keep the instant fusion and see what happens. Because if I can still make crystal needle fiber, then I still have, you know, the ability to go off and plus and stuff. Alright, so let me get the 1, 2, 3. 3 cards. Interesting enough, still have it. Now this is a proxy for Gillosaurus. I just didn't put a paper there saying Gillosaurus, but you know, it's the fact that this here is still crystal needle fiber. Just these 2 cards, sorry. Just these 2 cards, crystal needle fiber. And then I got a red screen, my staple floodgate, aka draw card. Stop for the win. And then of course, Biomass, which is useful against pendulums, or just any problematic link monster, or just, you know, anything. And since it doesn't target, just a great card in general, right? And now it's at 3, so why not play, right? So right now I already have the ability to go off. So this is a pretty good hand, and you know, all thanks to the magical mallet, right? So magic mallet, obviously, it's there to prevent bad hands. Even though I'm trying to show you how to play with bad hands. But you know, if you built your deck to be consistent, bad hands are not common. But if you do have a bad hand, a couple times, because okay, I use my experience when I went to tournaments. Because when I play in general, I tend to draw good, but there are those times where I don't draw good. But the worst time to draw bad is obviously at a tournament, at an event. You always want to draw good in an event, and you know, I definitely don't like seeing a bad hand when my hand's just too good. Too many potentials there. I mean, I did build the deck, so no surprise that I'm not getting no bad hands. You know, I could just simplify it, just go straight into like what a bad hand could be in this deck. You know, because I actually thought about this before. Like, I don't know if I had like multiple MSTs. MSTs are good and all, but if I'm going up against a strategy where my opponent is summoning a whole bunch of monsters, you know, yeah, I got too many good stuff in here. What was the idea? 2 MSTs. A pretty bad hand. Definitely can't have fusion because that will always make my bad hands good hands. Oh yeah. Okay, there you go. That's the idea. The idea was reborn card. Oh no, that's recall. Reborn cards, but with nothing to reborn, right? So I got 2 MSTs, which my opponent might not have no back row, so they're dead draws, right? And then you got the back to the fronts to reborn stuff. But if you have no monsters, you're not reborning anything. And recall is actually a good card. Foolish, too good. Obviously, that gets me what I need. Cold Bulb is a one. Obviously, you know, it's too good by itself. Magic mallet. So as you can see, I have 3 reborn cards and 2 backward hate cards. Not much I can do with that, so that will be a bad hand. If I at least have 1 monster, I can do something. You always want at least 1 monster to defend. But if you draw a hand where there is no monsters, you got cards that's supposed to go work with monsters, but you have no monsters, obviously that'd be a problem. This, ironically, I have a lot of my videos on how to beat decks, use MST to beat them. So I might still be able to, you know, do good. So this is still decent under the right conditions, but more likely your opponent's going to be summoning monsters, and none of this will protect you from battle damage. So if your opponent swarms gets a whole bunch of monsters on the field. So as you can see, this is a pretty bad hand. You have 3 reborn cards and 2 backrow hate. So this, and since there's no monster in the hand, you're not going to be able to do much. Since this supports monsters, and I have no monsters to use these with, so these are dead trolls right off the bat. The MSCs could help me, win against the deck under the right conditions. A lot of my videos of my How to Beat series, MSC is like a staple in how to beat a deck. Because a lot of decks do get, crippled by this. If you play this at the right time, it negates, right? So this is a pretty bad hand, so not much can be done, but you still should play it, because the MSCs are still worth something. If you're going up against Bujins, or you can MSC the tanky, and that could help you, by ruining their consistency. You might, increase yours, right? So that's what I would do. I would MSC the tanky, and hopefully they don't have your model. Hopefully they don't have much of anything they can use, and that'll give me an advantage. This could be used against a domain, not domain. I meant to say the True Draco field spell. So you could pop the field spell so they don't use it. You can use this against Meltdown and so forth, so forth. There's a lot of field spells that sometimes are a Union Hanger. So this will still have some relevancy by popping a field spell or any type of card that could potentially have been a problem. Brilliant Fusion, you could probably use this against. I don't know the ruling. If they activate Brilliant Fusion, you MST this, you MST it, will it prevent it from doing anything? If it does, great. There, you have MST does negate, right? So this is not the best hand, but that's the whole point, is that playing a bad hand. You should still, play your MSTs. Having 2 set cards look threatening. This you can play at any time during your turn, so you obviously want to keep that in your hand. You want to make it look like you have something that you can use, and this you can use eventually. But these, you can't play them from the hand, so you got to set them. Set maybe 1, don't have to do both. You don't have to go overboard, since you do have the Monster Reborn. So you can keep these 2 cards, set 3, and that looks like a pretty good, setup. It's like, oh, he has something. But you don't have much. You know what I mean? But you have something. At least these, you can set, and because they're face down, that already puts doubt in your opponent's mind. It makes them guess. Because if you had nothing, if you like, oh, this is a bad hand, end my turn. Oh, you have nothing. There's nothing for your opponent to think about, worry about. You always want your opponent to double think, to think twice. So set some cards. You can set those 2 and keep these, so you can use them properly. Maybe you don't want them to get twin twistered, right? Let's say you set these 2 and you're like, yeah, end my turn. That's a decent play, and they're like, twin twister. Oh, well, that sucks. And then later on they activate like a floodgate or something, like, oh man, I wish I had these, right? So why not set these? These are good these are good to have, plus they're sacrificable. So you can keep this hand for later when you really, really need them. And these, sacrificial land, your turn. Oh, he double MST, I don't care. Oh, he summoned and attacked me, that's cool. Draw for turn. Oh, bomb is pretty decent. And you already used up your twin twister, so I don't gotta worry about this being on. So set it, right? Maybe set an MST, end my turn, make the field look threatening by having 2 cards on the field and still having these 2, really good cards for later, Hold on to your MST. Alright. Your opponent does something, oh, bombless, oh, they do something else, oh, MST, that was decent, you did something. Still not great. Hand still bad, right? Draw. Recall. Good card. But again, now we're in a bad hand situation, right? We're still no monsters, still no ability to go off, right? But still, recall, space, and your turn. Oh, you activate your monster's effect that you just link summon or synchro summon or whatever. Boom, destroy it. You draw a card. Yay! Oh, you play back row. Get rid of that. Oh man, that was a warning you just set. All right, good thing I got rid of it. My turn. Draw. Oh, something. Finally, something. Right? Instant fusion. This might not be that big of a deal because I really wish I had put a rage in my extra deck. I don't have one in this one right now. Instant fusion him. Right? He dies. Go to graveyard. Your turn. My turn. Say you did some stuff. Oh, finally. Yes, now my hand's better. You know? Options. These two cards can definitely do some stuff. So, what to do? What to do? Well, first off, once reborn, right? In case he has a way to negate it or something, or stop it, or let's say you summon this from Monster Born and then he bomb us, you know, it's like, okay, you had a response. But since you did space, let's say he had no back row, since you spaced, you bring this back, right? Reinforcement for search. And there's only one search, so even if they had drawn Logbird, it's irrelevant because you only did one search. Not going to be searching a lot right now. But you are definitely going to try plus, right? So your normal summon, obviously tuner on, tuner, yay! Straight into Crystal Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber. Proxy, of course. Any response? No? Alright, Needle Fiber's ability. You know, there's a couple options. You know, you can go up bulb, you know. At least now I can start playing the game. Start off with a bad hand, but at least I was able to play the game. Now, if my opponent has a really derpy combo where they can go truly off, then, you know, they got me, of course, right? They can truly go off. But in this scenario, I will want to go with Notorious Rose Whip, because that will reduce the number of spells and traps my opponent could play per turn. Nice, you know, decent 1700 effect, not great. Plus, it also gives me ability that, and then of course on my opponent's turn, Crystal Needle Fiber's effect to banish it in order to bring out TG Magician, hop back row. When she gets destroyed, I get to draw, so it's kind of like a formula slash MST all in one. And she's a tuner synchro, so I could synchro with her if I draw a monster I can synchro with. The fact that this is a tuner, I can't use two tuners to synchro unless they come up with a monster that you can't use two tuners to synchro. I have to double check because I'm just thinking about it. Never mind. I could probably make Gothams with this. So that's something to keep in mind. I could potentially make Gothams with this. I have to go double check. Gothams might need two Earth monsters, but they don't. It doesn't matter if they're both tuners, but it might need Earth and she's light. So if it needs an Earth, if it needs two Earths for Gothams, then yeah, I can't use this combo for Gothams. But if I can, that'd be awesome. That'd be a tech choice right there. All right, but as you can see, bad hand. I made it playable. It wasn't great, but I made it playable. And I've been in similar scenarios like that a couple of times where, you know, the hand wasn't the greatest. And a lot of times it was spell and trap heavy based hands, but I still made them playable. But I've seen people who had, you know, heavy spell and trap, you know, hands, and they scooped, or they just didn't see a potential play. Sometimes they had a monster and they just didn't play it. So let's say you have a hand where you do have a monster. Let's say Goblin Beinberg, right? And then you had the MSTs. And the, you know, there you go. So let's say you had that hand. So you have two Reborn cards, two back row haste, and one Goblin Beinberg. He's not that. He has 0 defense, 1400 attack, so he's not that powerful. It's not like I can normal summon him and he'd be a threat. Like, I would rather have, like, what's his name? King, Tiger King, not Tiger King. Well, Tiger King is decent, of course. But I meant to say Thunder King Ryo. At least it'll be a 1900 and it's a floodgate by itself, right? Or Inspector Border, you know, same thing. Normal summon, have some type of, you know, ability that can be problematic. Right here, the only ability he has is to summon another monster from my hand, but I have no other monster, so this obviously would be a pretty bad hand. I do have two Reborn cards though, so I could still, let's say I don't want to take no damage, so, you know, obviously I set, plus I don't want my opponent to guess what I'm playing, so then I can just, you know, set 4, set my monster, and there, I have 5 set cards. Now my field looks threatening. It looks very threatening. It looks like I have stuff. On average, most people assume if you have face downs, you have traps, you have answers for days. Here looks like a very opposing field, but it also does obviously look like, oh, I'm waiting for something. because I haven't established monster board yet, so I'm waiting for something. So all these cards being face down could be still potential threat depending on my strategy. This could be a flip effect monster. It could be morphin draw number 1 for all they know, especially since it's legal right now. So anything could happen. And this could be a chain burn deck where this is morphin draw. It's like chain, burn. Oh, okay, attack this. Morphin draw 5 more cards. Burn. This could be chain burn right now, and they won't know. But we know. Does it say nothing good right now? This is a bad hand. But I'm going to make bad hand look good. And that's important. Deception. Make it look good. You know, you want to mind trap your opponent. Deception. Make them think you have, threats. Plus, you also want them to be in a situation where they have to ask for a response. Like, you have a response? You have a response? You know, and then you have, by that alone, you have some control of the duel, you know. If you kept your whole hand, it's like, oh man, this hand's terrible. I'm gonna hold on to it. All right, well then they have no need to hold back. They have no need to hesitate or, second guess themselves. You're telling them, hey, win the game. Don't do that. Set something, anything. One MST, like one MC, one monster. Like that. This is sacrificial right here. This is a sacrificial play. Like these cards are decent once you start drawing something, right? So hold on to them. You're gonna need the MST in case they got a floodgate. You're gonna need your, your back to the fronts, call hunter, whatever. Your reborn cards. You're gonna need this hand. So at least keep a hand to look like you got something. Oh yeah, I got a hand trap. You think I got a hand trap? You think this is Ghost Ogre, but it's not, right? So make it look like you got some hand traps, right? And put up some sacrifice, right? This is known as a chunk blocker, right? Sacrifice, boom, here, let that thing die for you. Space some back row, slow your opponent down. Something, a basic play. But a basic play is all you really need to make a bad hand a good hand. Basic play, yeah, you kill this, right? Let me see your back row. Oh man, that was a warning. That would be a problem once I do draw a monster, right? Let me draw for turn. There we go. OMG. Now my bad hand became a good hand. Because now I got the Lone Fire. I wish this was at least a Monster Reborn, right? I could go really off. Monster Reborn Soul and Lone Fire, or Soul Charge and Lone Fire. Boom, I go off. So this is a good hand. Like this hand got better. That's what I'm saying. This got better. You know what I mean? Like I can definitely establish a board with this. And that'd be the end of the video for now. You know, you got a basic idea of how to play a bad hand, or at least how I play a bad hand. So hopefully this has taught you how to play a bad hand better. Therefore, you will always have a chance of winning more if you can make a bad hand a good hand. And then when you do get a good hand, oh, you know what to do. It's a good hand, obviously. A good hand is always going to do what it's supposed to do, right? But a bad hand, that's what you got to make good. And that's what shows you're a good player. That you can make a bad hand into a good hand. Until you get a real good hand. And that's the end of the video.